Hi guys, so today we're looking at solving linear equations, the next step in our algebraic topic. To start with, we'll do a quick warm-up and take a look at what we did last time we met, which was looking at expanding brackets, just as a bit of a recap. So we've got a problem here, and you'll have to excuse my accuracy today. The normal pen I write with is broken, so I'm just going to be doing the old-fashioned way per se, and just using my fingers to try and scroll and draw, etc. So, looking at this problem here, we are going to expand both these brackets, and we can just think about them as two separate expressions, if you like, if it makes it simpler to start with, and then combine our terms later. So, we look at this, and we say that we're going to multiply that first bracket by those two, and then the second bracket, we'll split it down here just so visually we can see what's happening. The second bracket we're going to multiply by -3 both times as well. Okay, so to start with the left hand side of that, -2 multiplied by 2x, well 2 times 2 is 4, and negative times a positive is a negative, so we're going to have negative 4x there, and then -2, and that's a -4. 2 times 4 is 8, and then a negative and a negative will make it a positive. Okay, so that's the first one. Now we can ignore that and move on to the second side of the equation. We've got -3 multiplied by 3x, so that comes to 3 3s are 9. Negative times a positive is a negative, so we take it to -9x. Last time, -3 times positive 5. Negative of positive is a negative. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, and that's it there. Now we can go and take a look and check if we have any like terms in here. Now, a like term is either going to have the same pronumeral or no pronumeral at all. So we've got two terms, -4x and -9x. Both have x in them, so they'll be like terms. And then our other ones are two constants, so +8 and -15. So we can combine both of those. So -4 and -9x. So if you think about on the number line, we have 0 down here and -4. So if we start at -4 and we take away 9, we're going to the left 9 places. Okay, so we're going to end up there at -13x. Same as saying -4 take 9x. Then our two green ones there, +8 take 15. So +8, if we take a look at our number line again, put in a different colour, +8 is going to be up here, about 8, and then we're going to shoot all the way, going to move backwards 15 places, and that's going to leave us down at where are we? 7. Okay, so that's it. Expand, simplify. Alrighty. Next up, what we want to do today is we want to be able to identify the reverse order of what's happening to the variable. Okay, because by doing that, we can work out how to undo it and then get the variable on its own. Apply opposite operations to find the value of the variable. Okay, so key there, we want to find opposite operations and apply the opposite operations to make another variable the subject. I did that in a different video, so go and take a look at solving literal equations and you'll get a good idea of what's going on with that one there. Okay, so without further ado, we will move on to that next slide. So, simple equations. So we can either use reverse BIDMAS to dig x out. Okay, so when we talk about reverse BIDMAS, we are simply talking about something where we have, get a nicer colour, we've got BIDMAS, bit of a dodgy B, BIDMAS, and if x is buried inside the equation, then we want to work from this end backwards, essentially, to solve the equation. So if we look at the first one, we can ask ourselves what's happening to x. So we concentrate on this one here. 2x plus 3 equals 4. Okay, we can do it two ways. Ask ourselves what's happening to x. We can go, right, well, I like putting it in boxes, it just makes it, I don't know, visually appealing for some reason. So x, the first thing that happens to it is that we times it by 2 there. Okay, you can see 2x is times by 2. Then the next step is we add 3. Okay. Now to undo that then, we go back to front and we reverse each of those operations. So we're going to go deal with this first, and we're going to take 3. Then we're going to multiply. Sorry, that's multiplying by 2, and the opposite of multiplying is of course dividing by 2. Okay, and that's how we're going to get x all on its own again. So x would have started out on its own, then we've multiplied it by 2 and added 3 to it in this equation. So to undo that, we're going to take 3 away and we're going to divide by 2. You can also see how that works in the opposite operations. So using our BIDMAS, you can see that if I work backwards, I'm going to deal with my addition subtraction first. So these two, and I look at that and I go, right, I've got an addition there of 3, and then after that's gone, I'm going to deal with my division multiplication, which is over here in the 2x. Okay. So to solve that now, we're going to follow those steps in red. You can think about it in reverse, reverse BIDMAS as well. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take 3 away from there. Now it's a balanced equation, so whatever we do to the left side, we do to the right side. So we want to get rid of that 3. So we're going to take 3 from there. So 3, take 3 is 0. That leaves us with 2x on that left hand side. Okay. 4 take 3 is 1. That's the right hand side dealt with. And our last step, as we said down the bottom there, the second step is that we're going to divide by 2, because that's the opposite of timesing by 2. And we do that to both sides as well. Okay, so that eliminates that, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1x is the same as just saying x. 1 divided by 2, you can either leave it as 1/2, or because it's a neat decimal, we can make it into 0.5. Okay? So, I'd suggest you pause this now and have a crack at the one on the right hand side that says 5 take 2x equals 12, and then I will follow you up with the answers to that. Okay, how'd you go with the 5 take 2x equals 12? Hopefully okay. So there is I guess a slight trick here with things around the other way. We're still doing it that x is being multiplied by -2 first. Then our 5 here is a positive 5. We have to remember that. So because that's a positive 5, it's the same as plusing 5. So that's going to be the one that we deal with first. So reverse BIDMAS again. We're dealing with addition subtraction. So we're going to deal with that first. So the opposite of adding 5 is of course taking 5. And to get rid of that, so 5 take 5 is 0. I'm going to do the same to my right hand side. So 12 take 5 is 7. And lastly, the opposite of dividing by -2, timesing by -2 is to divide by -2. So we're going to do that to both sides. That eliminates those, leaving us with 1x, and that will give us -3.5. Okay, let's go over slightly, look, not much harder, but a slightly different one here. Same thing, we're looking for the same stuff all the time. Where is our addition subtraction? So here's a subtraction, so we're going to deal with that first to start digging out x, and then we'll be left with a division to deal with after that. So the first thing we're going to do, the opposite of taking 3, is to add 3 to both sides. So that leaves us with, leaves that as 0. So on our left hand side we drop down our x divided by 4, and 7 plus 3 is 10. Then next step, the opposite of dividing by 4 is to multiply by 4. So multiply that side by 4, and we would also multiply this side by 4. So there goes our x over 4, and x is equal to 40 in that example. Okay, have a crack at the second one in the you do column now. Hopefully it's fairly straightforward. Look at what's happening to x, and then reverse that. So pause it now, go through it, and I'll run through the answers for you. Okay, just because there's an extra step in this one, I'm going to pop what's happening to 2x over 3 plus 5 equals 7. I'm going to write out what's happening in the boxes. So first thing I find it easier to deal with is to say that x adjust my screen there for a second. So I'm going to say for this one here, first off, x is being times by 2. Okay, then that's all being divided by 3. So divide by 3, then that's all having 5 added to it. Okay, so to reverse that, come back this way, we're going to take 5 first. Sorry, I'll redo that. Yellow's not the greatest colour on a white background. So we're going to take 5. Then the opposite of dividing by 3 is we're going to times by 3, and the opposite of timesing by 2 is, of course, dividing by 2. Okay. The screen's starting to look a bit messy now, unfortunately, but we'll soldier on and use those steps to solve this equation. So the first thing I'm doing is subtracting 5, and that's going to be from both sides of the equal sign, left and right. That takes away the plus 5 and leaves us with an equation of 2 on the right hand side and 2x divided by 3 on the left hand side. Okay, next up, following our, so we've done that step there. Next up is to multiply by 3 to get rid of the 3 down the bottom, and multiply by 3 up the top. So they cancel each other out, leaving us with 2x on the left hand side and 6 on the right. Last of all, we're going to divide by 2. Okay, so that one was done, and now we're all the way over here. And divide both sides by 2, of course, because it's a balanced equation. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, which is just the same as saying 1x, or x, and 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. And that's that one solved. Hopefully you did okay there. Last one, I'm just going to run through, you can have a crack at this yourself as well, good practice. The key here is that if you're going to put it in boxes, you can see that the first thing that's happening to x is it's being multiplied by 2, then we're adding 4 to it, then all of that is being divided by 9. So we're not actually going to get rid of our plus first, because it's similar to saying that all of this up the top is being divided by 9. So it's technically, you could say it's almost like it's in brackets. And if we look at our reverse BIDMAS, I'll just point up here, reverse BIDMAS, you can see that when we're working from right to left to undo an equation, our B is all the way on the end, so we would deal with that last. So that means we're going to deal with our division first this time. The opposite of dividing by 9 is to multiply by 9. And that'll eliminate that one there, leaving us with that top part, which I've got in the red brackets. We'll just write it as 2x plus 4 equals 18. 2 times 9 is 18. Now you can deal with it the same as we dealt with, I think, the first equation. We'll get rid of the plus 4. So that is the same as negative 4. We'll take away 4 from both sides, leaving those out. So 2x is equal to 14. Lastly, opposite of timesing x by 2 is to divide it by 2, and then divide 14 by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 1x is just x, and then x equals 7 at the end there. So hopefully that's reasonably straightforward for us. Don't forget, check on what we did in the what the success criteria stated, and if we've covered it there. Hopefully you've understood it. If not, go back over the video again. Like I said, if you're comfortable with this, you may not need to do the boxes. So writing out what's happening to x in order, as I've got down the bottom here. I'll leave this one here. Okay, you may not have to do that if you're comfortable with it, and you just sort of keep in mind your reverse BIDMAS that we went through. But if you're struggling with it, write out what's happening to x, reverse that, and do the opposite operations, and hopefully you will be sweet with that. Okay? Leave any comments, any suggestions, any mistakes I've made. Have a look. Otherwise, good luck with it. I hope all is straightforward. See you next time.